Welcome to the Mind Shift podcast. Join Rocio Perez, your mental performance strategist, as she navigates you through inspiring journeys with global experts. Explore breakthrough insights and awaken the potential within you wherever you are in life. Get ready to transform your personal growth. Here's Rocio to guide you.
Hello, everyone. I am here with David today, and we're talking about in this platform of what does the future of work look like, HR, life, and everything in between. So I know we have a lot of questions to answer here, but we're going to go ahead and begin. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's exciting.
Thank you so much. David, let's talk about the future of AI. Now, here we are in this extraordinary future. What does it look like?
That's a really good question. I don't have all the answers to that. I think a lot of people are trying to predict what will it look like, what the workforce will look like, and some of the statistics I've seen are kind of alarming.
Hmm.
I've heard that in 2030, 85% of jobs that are available in 2030 haven't been created yet, and it's 2025. So if you look at that and think, okay, in 5 years, what is that going to look like? How many jobs will be eliminated in the next few years? I think that will continue. I recently heard a company in our industry laid off over 500 people because of AI. And so it's impacting individuals, it's impacting companies. And so it's that, you know, understanding of what it is, and it's a machine learning tool. It is not with emotion. So what's going to be fascinating to see is like how will it create something that will go beyond what it is now? Because in HR, in human resources, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people going through things, right? And you can't go to AI and try to figure out the right way to handle situations. And there is still a human component to workforce and human connection with recruiting and manager development and how managers connect with their staff and their team. So it's not going to replace every job out there that's currently available, but it's just going to continue to quickly change. I mean, by the
Mhm.
time that you and I probably reconnect, it's going to be different and there's going to be more tools out there. So
Okay.
it's making people's jobs easier. I use it for a lot of content creation and ideas and visuals and presentations, and it saves me a lot of time. But is it eliminating jobs in HR? I believe it will. It's just a matter of what will that look like amongst the group that do have HR in their organization and what that'll look like in the future.
Well, great response on that. And thinking also, which leads me to the next question. What does it look like for an employee, an individual who's inside of an organization? Because we do, it's part of our identity. Our work is part of our identity. How do I continue to make myself even more valuable and prepare myself as the landscape is shifting?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that you can individually create success for yourself and a brand for yourself, meaning network, go to events, find a mentor, find many mentors to have in your life. One of my upcoming podcast guests, his topic is about having a boardroom, personal boardroom, and how you can create a group of mentors around you to help you in your career mapping and how that looks like. And so I've heard of reverse mentoring. I've heard people in workforce development helping the younger generation teach the older generations because we have five
Mhm.
generations working together, right? So, we are in a time of this workforce being so diverse in age and motivation and engagement and how they interact with people, and so it really comes down to the organization. And if that individual has an interest in learning more, you can go and teach yourself a lot with the tools out there. So if you're thinking of using AI more, really find what in your day to day that's mundane,
Mhm.
repetitive, what can you find in the world of AI and the tools to help you save time and maybe focus on other things that you can be a little bit more strategic and focus on. So it's going to vary. It's going to obviously vary amongst everybody. And I know some people don't really use AI. They might be scared of it. They might not think it's going to help them. So, just I think everybody's going to use it a little different, but it's gonna change dramatically for a while, I feel like.
I really love the fact that you even brought in our previous conversation of how do we become of more value into the work that we're doing. Right now, the reverse. How do we reverse mentor
Hmm.
and get mentored ourselves in addition
Right.
to providing value to others? I think there's always
Right.
going to be a room that I'm the smartest person in the room. And there's also going to be a room where other people are the smartest person in the room, other smartest people who
Yeah.
can elevate me as well. How do I
Yeah.
balance that is, I think that's the key to it. And am I open to that?
Right.
Because as you mentioned previously, like our humanity, we cannot take that away, right? You can chat GPT all you want and with any of the chats, but the human to human connection is something that is so important for each of us to connect from one to another.
Right.
What would you say is the greatest piece of advice that you have received lately as it relates to your field?
As it relates to my field in HR, I think it's helping create your personal brand and be authentic in your work because at the end of the day, life's short and you want to try to enjoy what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So if if you really are not doing something that you truly enjoy, then maybe take a step back and figure out really what that looks like
Mm,
in your interests, your values, your talents. You might not be fully utilizing your talents in your day to day, and that might look like a side gig. I know a lot of people have side gigs, right? Like
mhm,
they're doing things on the weekends, they're doing things outside of their day to day work
mm,
that's giving them somewhat of a sense of purpose and self fulfillment. So really, that's what I think a lot of people, recently I've been telling people that, and when people have asked me, like you did, about just advice, try to create a personal brand for yourself.
mm. Thank you. Now, we're in a different world again. What advice would you give your child, given that they'll be graduating from college soon? What advice would you be giving them as a parent? You're seeing the landscape, you're in HR, you're seeing how things are being done and how people are growing. What advice would you give them?
I think it's what a lot of people 15, 20 years ago didn't even really think about. It's the basics of how to interact with other people and show empathy, respect, communicate well. It's the basic fundamentals that I think a lot of the younger generation are lacking.
Mhm,
And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but technology and how people do not interact, face to face.
mhm,
I try to teach them all the time, when you can respect other people and they gain your trust and you really have a sense of understanding and meeting them where they're at, and being able to work with anybody, whenever you think back on a previous job you've had, you probably worked with some folks that were difficult to work with. They complained, they brought the morale
Sometimes I was
down.
the difficult one.
I won't tell anybody. Uh, so it's like those basic fundamentals, people will hire based on their experience, education, having a level of education that's needed for a job is important. That's kind of a requirement. But when you can show somebody that you can work together on a team, you can meet deadlines, you can interact with pretty much anybody, and take care of, if you're in a service role, you can take care of a customer, gain that relationship and trust. Those are the things I'm trying to teach my kids, and just they will be successful wherever they go in their career,
No matter what.
because of those things that most companies they want, and they're having a hard time finding people, and someone that's loyal and will work hard, and bring a level of creativity and authenticity to a company. It's going to go a long way.
Hmm. And that's powerful. Great advice, right? The humanity, the connection, the authenticity, like what makes us human is
Hmm.
really what's going to help us as we continue to move forward in our lives and in our careers. And how do we bring value into everything that we do? I remember when I was in my first corporate job. I said, okay, how do I bring the value into what I'm doing? And I got into management. I got into many different things. But even as an intern, I wanted to figure out what is it that I'm going to do? How am I going to take advantage of this opportunity that I've been given to elevate myself? So I ended up going on TV. I ended up being like the spokesperson for the city, like of all things that I could be. Really leveraging those relationships. I think it's the relationships as well. We can AI everything, yet we cannot AI the relationships. There's an
Right.
authenticity, there's a human connection, there's an expression of oneself that
Yep.
as we maintain that, we'll be able to navigate.
Yep.
Beautiful. What would be the last three tips that you would give anyone as we're moving forward through our career and through this next phase and through these next 5 years that can be very interesting to manage?
Three tips. Never stop trying to learn something. Um, get out of your comfort zone when you can. It's the only way you somewhat develop your skill set. Find the right mentors to have in your life. If you don't have any, find one or several, and meet them for coffee, meet them for lunch. Get out of your day-to-day work and just sit down with them, and ask them questions and try to get advice from them, and then just really find something that you enjoy doing and that you're passionate about, and can find a way to do that in an organization that sees value in you and will invest in you. So when you are going through an interview process, whether it's right now, if you're in the job search focus, in your current state, or in the future, it's asking those right questions in an interview, and really dialing into that organization's culture, environment, leadership, management, and really see if it's going to be a fit for you. Because like I said, there's going to be people that move jobs every 1 to 2 years. There's going to be people that really like to see loyalty and commitment, and it'll go a long way. So no matter what industry you're in, or what career you're trying to focus on, I think all of those things will help you be successful in the future.
Powerful, powerful. And to our listeners, my invitation is to take a look, connect, see what resonates with you. I think that's one of the beautiful things that we can decipher through what we're going through and figure out, like, how do I connect with David? Please connect with him. Connect on his Speak Easy HR.
Yeah, there you
Yes, go
go.
ahead and connect with him on that, and connect with him on LinkedIn, ask
Yeah,
questions, connect with each other. I think that's the human to human connection will always be there. That's one of the most important things. We can navigate anything
yeah,
as long as we connect with each other. So,
yeah.
David, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Mindshift podcast. Rocio hopes you've been inspired and gained insights to fuel your journey of personal growth. Remember to subscribe and share this episode with friends who are also exploring their potential. Leave us a review to help spread the message. Rocio says, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring your potential with us. Until next time, goodbye.